Call Kenny Loggins because you're in the danger zone.
Tommy Kraft.
I thought that was one of the worst officiated games I've ever seen.
The Morning Rush starts right now.
And welcome into the Morning Rush on this beautiful day here in the great state of Arkansas. Appreciate everybody listening in this morning. John Neighbors, Tommy Kraft, Ty Richardson, all in studio with you today. And thank you, as always, for making us a part of your morning this morning. There's going to be a lot of things we're going to get into today. Rumor has it Nick Mason's going to be joining us in studio, which I know everyone's been tuning in right now for that fact. So just slow down, folks. I'm sorry. He'll be here in a second.
Yeah.
Once the police escort arrives, he'll be all right.
And seen the motorcycles running up the street to block off the other intersections, but it's momentary.
Yeah.
Just momentary till he gets here.
Well, it's like, in the old days, in the old medieval times when you had bannermen, holding your banners as you walk down. You think Nick Mason's got a banner that he has like a little flag on the limousine as he drives in?
I think it's probably more like the movie Coming to America, where the ladies that lay out the rose petals for his every step. It's probably more along those lines.
Okay. Well, we're gonna have to clean up some stuff then in the front yard here at the office after the show once he arrives. So we'll have him in studio with us today to talk a lot about the Arkansas Razorback basketball team, which they get back on the winning ways last night. Somehow, some way, that might have been one of the worst starts to a basketball game I've ever seen. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was a full 7 minutes. Arkansas went after scoring their first basket. They went without scoring 7 minutes at home to Missouri. They were down by double digits, and it wasn't like Missouri was setting the world on fire by any stretch. But what an ugly start to a game, but a nice finish for Arkansas. They got back into it. It was a little back-and-forth game there for a while. Arkansas held on to a marginal lead. Seemed like any time that they looked like they were about to pull away, Missouri responded with some three from Mark Smith because apparently you don't need a guard. We only went 6 of 11 from three-point land. But anyways, he was the guy that ended up keeping Missouri in the game. But then when it was all said and done, Arkansas went on a nice little streak there. I think it was 11-1 run to close out the game, and they get the victory 72-60 over the Missouri Tigers.
Yeah, it was 12-2 with 14:05 when Missouri scored to make it 12-2 and went up 10, obviously. 14:05 left in the first half. Eventually got to 14-2, and then Arkansas finally got back on the board at the 11:43 mark. With 11:43 to go in the first half, Arkansas had 4 points. And ends up scoring. Think about this. 72 points. They scored 68 points in basically the final 30 minutes of the game.
Yeah, it's not good.
Essentially,
That's not going
31 if you want to get more technical, but
it's not going to do anything for you. Does this
they
game
went on a little bit of a run?
But does this change anything in your thoughts? I mean, it's nice to see them win, I guess, but does it? Oh, now you saw some things now that maybe they can get it going. I don't know. It's just Missouri's not a good team. They weren't a good team at all. They came in. They're very similar to Arkansas, where they have a good player or two, but can't get anything consistently going.
Even their records are almost identical. 2-4 for the Razorbacks now in league play. 1-4 for Missouri in the league. 10-7 for the season for Missouri. Arkansas is 11-7. So what they've done this year as far as wins and losses is close to identical.
Yeah. And
is that even right? You can't be close to identical. You're either identical or you're not. They're very similar.
We'll make it work.
Yeah.
Close to identical works for me. But, of course, Arkansas, Isaiah Joe, is nice to see him get back in his winning ways and able to hit his shot. 7 of 12 from the three-point line for Isaiah Joe. He finishes with 23 points, led all scores. Daniel Gafford has 13 points, 10 rebounds. He took 6 of 9 shooting, 1 of 5 from the free throw line, so still brutal there. But then Jalen Harris adds in 10 points of his own. I don't know what's going on with Mason Jones, but he looked like a guy that was really bringing it for a few games there. 2 of 10 shooting for him, 2 of 8 from the three-point line. Just, you got to get him going if you want to have any chances, but he's just not been able to find the basket here as of late.
About the time he's curtailed his point production, Isaiah Joe's brought his up. Isaiah Joe started out in league play first 3 games, not very good. And now Isaiah Joe's had a couple of good games, double-digit performances. But if you could get those two and Gafford going at the same time, that's the key for a run. Active defense, pressure defense without fouling, and 3 guys in double digits. You're going to have probably 2 of them close to 20. think the three of them got to combine for 55 or 60 to give your team a real chance to win because you lack the depth. So those three players to beat the quality teams in the SEC are all going to have to be on at the same time. And other teams have been able to take that away so far.
Well, and I will say this, too. When we had Alex Schiffer on our show yesterday, I asked him about what will it take for Arkansas to take care of business against Missouri. What are they going to have to exploit? And the thing that he brought up was causing turnovers. He says as far as Arkansas' style of play, it's really the worst type of style that Missouri could go up against because they have not been very good at handling the ball. And I don't think it could have been more right. 24 turnovers for Missouri. Now, I'm giving Arkansas a lot of credit. They caused a lot of those turnovers. But, I mean, you're not going to win games turning it over 24 times. Nope. Missouri was not a team that handled the ball very well. They did not handle the pressure very well that Arkansas put on. And Arkansas really got the defense going late as of well, too. So there were a lot of factors that went into this game and a lot of reasons why Arkansas won. And, again, it was nice to see them get back on the winning ways as it seemed like it was really down and out. But I just don't know what – it's like – at what point is it going to really get to change where you start thinking, okay, maybe this team's got to turn around? Because going on the road this week and when they have Texas Tech, I mean, that'd be huge if they won it and maybe people start believing, but you also have to be realistic. I don't see that happening.
You don't get much of a chance for a streak to be put together. That's the problem is Arkansas, you'd hope to go on a 3, 4, 5 game winning streak and kind of level some things out with your record, gain some real confidence, but the schedule works out till you go to Texas Tech. Now, it's a real opportunity to go to Texas Tech, too, go out to Lubbock, and if you win that game, I don't think any of us believe they will, then you're talking about Arkansas in a different level of performance. That'd be the best win of the year, no question. Be better than Indiana. What is the best win of the year right now?
Indiana? Has to be.
Has to, yeah. I don't know what else would rival that. You got 2 SEC. It's not A&M. It's not Missouri. Indiana's. This would be your best win of the year. And I would go to say be not the best win maybe for Mike Anderson, but one of the better wins in his 8 years. To go on the road and beat a top 10, I don't know what the rank this week, but they've been around 8.
They're 14th.
They're 14th,
right now,
okay.
Yeah.
They did lose to Iowa State about a week ago, so they've dropped out of the top 10, but still a solid top 15 team, a team that's going to be probably a 3 or a 4 seed, you would suspect, for the NCAA tournament. Be a quality win. And when your net rankings right now, I think going into the game last night was 86 or something, around 80 for Arkansas. You need a boost like that.
They lost also to Kansas State on Tuesday.
Okay.
So they lost by like 10 on the road.
So they're reeling a little bit. That's what you're saying. Arkansas can have a chance.
It's not what I'm saying.
I'm
just telling you who they lost
to.
to.
But see, that's the thing is that if Arkansas did do this and find a way to pull off a victory against them, then, I think that would get a lot of people to start believing and start thinking that they would be really back into it, I guess you should say.
Mm-hmm.
But
you'd start to believe again.
Yeah, because like you said, it's hard to get a streak going because if you just look at Arkansas' schedule for the next few games, okay, so say if they just pull out, wow, they beat Texas Tech on the road. Okay. Well, then they have Georgia at home, which Georgia's not a good team, but then to go on the road to LSU, who's looking really good right now, and they are a top 25 team. So you could probably lose that one. But then you have Vanderbilt back at home, who's terrible. They almost beat Tennessee last night, by the way. Went to overtime. But they're not a good team. It's like, okay, so maybe you can get it going. But then you go on the road to South Carolina, which has been playing really good.
Yeah.
And then, maybe you can beat Missouri on the road. But then you have Mississippi State at home. And then at Auburn after that. So, you're right. It's just hard to get a streak going. And that's really what's been the best thing about Mike Anderson's teams is that anytime that they were in conference play and they were looking to have a turnaround or really have a nice stretch down the stretch, to be able to make the NCAA tournament is always when they went on a winning streak. And if they go on any sort of winning streak this year, that means that they're probably going to have to beat a top 25 team or two to be able to have one.
The path to making it, you got 13 regular season games left, counting Texas Tech. You got 12 conference games this weekend. So we're of the belief that you got to probably get 10 SEC victories. So they're going to have to win to make the tournament. Probably barring winning in Nashville, winning it all, they're going to have to win 10 of the last 12.
Not happening.
No, but pardon me. They're going to have to win 8 of the last 12.
Still not happening. The SEC is just
early.
Too good.
I hadn't had my coffee. Did my math right. 8 of the last 12 in league play.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen crazy things happen, but
and that gets you to 19 wins. If you beat Texas Tech, that would be 20. But that's where they're at. 8 of the last 12 SEC games get you to 10 league wins. We think 10 is probably the number to get into the tournament.
Yeah, the minimum that you have to win in the SEC.
So they've won 2. They got to win 8 more to get to 10, obviously.
Yeah. So we'll see.
I know it's early, but 8 and 2 is still 10 with me.
Works for me. Promised there would be no math here on the Morning Rush.
Late night last night.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Well, we got to take a commercial break. We've got a lot of people calling in. We'll get to those phone calls. And, if, of course, you want to get in on the conversation, 877-377-6963 is that number to call in on this Recruiting Thursday presented by Razorback Camper Sales.
Yeah, the model year blowout sale going on right now. Lowest prices in the state, including 2018 Salem 27 or 28-foot travel trailers. These are last year's models. They've got to go. The 2019s are arriving. Slide out, awnings, power jacks, fully loaded. Only a few left. You can buy it at $21,986 or $225 a month right now at Razorback Camper Sales. Exit 1 off of the bypass in Hot Springs and online at RazorbackCamperSales.com.
This is Recruiting Thursday on the Morning Rush, presented by Razorback Camper Sales. Exit 1 off the bypass in Hot Springs or online at RazorbackCamperSales.com.
It's time to start planning your next outdoor adventure at the Greater Fort Smith RV Boat and Outdoor Show. Check out top brands for new motorhomes, fifth wheels, and travel trailers. Shop and compare bass, ski, and pontoon boats, as well as golf carts, tractors, mowers, four-wheelers, side-by-sides, and the latest outdoor clothing and equipment all in one location. Sponsored by Crabtree RV, Cofer's Boat Center, Golf Cars of Fort Smith, Wheeler Power Sports, Jelco Outdoors, Alma Tractor, and Bad Boy Mowers. The best deals of the year are here January 25th through February 2nd at the Greater Fort Smith RV Show.
Of our guys, I thought for 40 minutes, I thought we tried to create tempo, and the tempo was created by our defense. Even when we were down 13 early on, I just thought we just had to get, kind of like you have a nightmare, you're trying to get the sluggishness out of you. But thank goodness for our bench. I thought our guys coming off, Desi and Keyshawn Embry, I think Gabe came off the bench, Reggie Chaney came off the bench, and I thought those guys really kind of changed the tempo defensively, just really getting after it, getting in lanes and getting steals, getting to the basket, getting into their defense. And to me, I thought that was critical, getting back in the game. Of course, Missouri came out, and I thought some of the nervous turnovers we had, we saw those, and that's why they were able to score. And of course, Dan, they're not going to let Dan do anything. They're just playing off of those guys the guys that are playing that power position. And so we were able to put some guards out there and kind of spread the floor. I thought that was a little different, gave us a little bit better flow. Second half, we shot the ball a little bit better, got really into a nice rhythm. And what can I say, going down the stretch? We talk about a game of runs. You don't know when it's going to come, but it came right there, I think with 4:27 to go. It's a one-point game, and our defense kicked in, our offense kicked in, and you could just see our guys were really they were engaged and played with that intensity that I've been looking for. So, again, Missouri, Smith, he kept them in it. He kept making shots after shots. But our guys, I got to give them credit. They had some adversity, but they hung in there, and it was a good team win.
Yeah, Mike, you guys obviously been struggling. What's going through your mind when you're down 17-4, and I think you're 1 for 12? What'd you guys do to get it going in your direction? Well,
we brought some energy off the bench. I thought the guys came off the bench, and they created some offense with their defense, and we were able to score, get some easy opportunities, some layups, and before you know it, kind of broke the ice. It's kind of like it was kind of chilly, I guess, out there on the floor. But eventually we broke the ice with our defense, and then I thought we got into a much better rhythm, and we actually start force feeding the ball in there to Dan, and you saw him go up and score some baskets with 2 and 3 people around. And it tells you what kind of player Dan is. I mean, he gets a double-double when they're really just throwing people at him. But we were able to, again, go a little smaller, spread the floor, get into gaps, and knock some shots down.
Yeah, Hans talked about you guys, going smaller, going with 4 guards. There are some key spots. What led to that strategy?
Well, they were backing off guys. They were just packing it all in on Dan. And so in order to do that, you got to open up the floor. To space the floor, you got to bring out guys that hopefully can knock shots down, or even the threat of knocking shots down. And I thought we were able to do that.
Mike, did you think the pressure from your four-guard lineup would have force Missouri into a few more turnovers than you were doing early in the first half?
You know what? I just talked about what we want to do. I thought we want to create tempo, and that's who we are. And so it was good for me just to see our guys go out and leave it all on the floor. I thought we made the adjustments. They attacked us at times, but I thought the constant pressure. And they made some plays. They made some shots. They got some easy opportunities. But sometimes, over a course of a game, we just tried to make them uncomfortable. I thought that was the biggest difference. And then our guys kept the pressure. I thought we kept the pressure, touching balls and coming up with them and getting on the other end and making buckets with it and getting back in our defense. So it was just a constant. I thought it was a constant of disruption.
Could you talk a little bit about how, Geist was playing pretty well, but you guys were able to stop him from really hurting you guys tonight?
He was a key. I thought he's the head of their basketball team. I thought we wanted to make him work, and he got in that lane and kicked it back to Smith a couple of times. That's what he does. But we wanted to make sure we stay with those guys that can really shoot the basketball. And I thought our guys did a good job. Again, it was more than one guy guarding him. I think that was the biggest difference.
Isaiah's such a nice, polite, quiet kid.
Yeah,
Can you talk about, though, how he just has a killer instinct late in the game at times?
I think he's starting to I think I said it, here probably about the last 3 games. Now he started playing with that spirit. To me, that Razorback spirit, that the spirit that you talked about, with the mindset of being aggressive, being more assertive. We're seeing him go off the dribble a lot more now and not just settling. So it was good to see him, even defensively. You can see him engaged, touching balls. And so he's learning. Just like
Hitting headlines as well as your phone calls here in just a second. First, this from Williams Tractor.
Yeah, it's the Kick the Tires event going on right now at Williams Tractor in Fayetteville and in Berryville. During the Kick the Tires event, you can stop in for great in-store deals and financing options on New Holland equipment. Choose from New Holland tractors, hay and forage equipment, harvesting, seeding, spraying, and construction equipment as well. It runs through March 31st. To get by right now for the Kick the Tires event at Williams Tractor in Fayetteville and in Berryville.
Oh, and I guess we should introduce our Nick Mason's with us now. He decided to come in.
Morning, fellas.
Make a grand appearance.
Fashionably late.
It's cold outside, man.
Is that why you're late, or are you just making an observation?
Yeah.
Okay. Where's the Truth Donuts that you normally bring on Thursdays?
It was too cold. The donut shop wasn't even open.
Mm-hmm. So they closed down for cold weather?
I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, well.
Mm-hmm. I don't know.
We have to go to
the management over there.
Yeah, we may need to talk to them about it, see if they can start opening up. So let's go to the phone lines, though. Brian is in Greenwood. What's going on, Brian?
Hey, guys. How about them Hogs getting a much-needed win last night? That victory really stopped the bleeding. And how about Isaiah Joe leading the way with a game-high 23 points for the Razorbacks, which included 7 3-pointers.
Yeah.
He really stood out for the team last night. And
sure
let's
did.
not forget future first-round pick Daniel Gafford really played like a future first-round NBA draft pick last night. Next up, however, is facing Texas Tech in Lubbock. But when the Hawks beat the Red Raiders in this Saturday's SEC Big 12 Challenge, and they will beat the Red Raiders, the rest of the SEC competition is just easy pickings for the Razorbacks. Woo, Pick Series.
Thanks
Good
for
call,
the phone
Brian.
call, Brian. Talked about the ultimate optimist.
Yeah.
Thinking that they're going to beat the Red Raiders.
Yeah.
Thinking Daniel Gafford's a first-round pick. They're going to really get it going there. So, yeah, ultimate positivity going on there. Because I think, Nick, did you say something similar to that yesterday, I think, when we were talking about Arkansas and how they're going to beat the Red Raiders this weekend, and Daniel Gafford's a first-round pick, and they're back in the NCAA tournament and all that?
Gafford is a first-round pick, yeah. I'll give him
So you
that.
still do actually, though, believe that? He'll still be a first-round pick?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Like, this team, this team isn't to the point to where they're going to play him out of the first round. Like, yeah.
Well, yeah, but it's just, a lot of times we try to look at things from, like, the perspective of it, and the college football going into the NFL, and how what we see is like, okay, well, this guy's going to have to, if he does really well at the combine and all that stuff, then he'll be a first-round pick, and there's also only 2 rounds in the NBA draft, so it's a lot more difficult to get into that point. But, I guess Just depends on who you look at. Some people still feel like he maybe dropped to a second round, but you still feel like he'll stay first round.
No. There's no way. I mean, barring any injury, there's no way that he's dropping out of the first round. And even if he did get injured, he still would go in the first round. I bet it just would be towards the back of the first round because he's.
Question is he a lottery pick? That's the question.
Solidified. Yeah. And that's and I mean, I think if the draft was tomorrow, he would be a lottery pick.
Yeah. Let's just hope he doesn't end up on a terrible basketball team. Ends up with the Kings or something like that. I don't know. I mean, that would be okay. But anyways, I'm sure he'll just be fine getting drafted no matter where he ends up going. Let's go back to the phone lines. Melanie's in Harrison. What's going on, Melanie?
Hey, good morning, guys.
Morning.
Welcome in, Nick. Yay.
Good morning.
I miss Nick when he's not there. He's great. Listen, yesterday on the show, they announced they're not going to do more or less radio shows anymore. They're going to be strictly doing podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
Aren't doing that, are you?
Yeah, Tommy, are we doing that?
Are we going to do just a podcast?
Are we
and not a radio show? Is that what you're asking?
That's the new way,
Yeah.
Melanie.
Hey,
Don't let Tommy lie
think?
to you.
What do you think we should do, Melanie?
Don't let Kraft lie to you, Melanie. That's the new wave.
No podcast. No. Stay on the air, please.
Well, since you asked so nicely, I guess we can manage that.
Please.
We'll only do a podcast only if we could get up and record it at 6 a.m.
Boy, that sounds like a lot of fun.
No, we're staying right here. We're going to be right here. We're not smart.
God.
We're not smart enough to leave. We're going to stay till closing time. We're going to be here till they turn the fluorescent lights on in the bar that you didn't know existed, and they tell you to get the heck out of here.
Closing time, right?
Yeah, and then some.
Oh, well, I'm glad. I'm really, really glad. I was pretty upset when they made that announcement yesterday because I can't listen to a podcast in the car. How am I supposed to listen to a podcast in the car when I'm driving?
Well, with your phone hooked up to your Bluetooth.
Well, that's how I'm talking to you right now with the Bluetooth, but I don't keep the data on all the time. I don't have unlimited data.
Stop trying to convince her to not listen to the show in the morning.
I'm trying to convince her to listen to the show and then listen to our podcast.
Well, that's fine.
And then listen to the Halftime podcast and the Ruskin is Ranting podcast. We got 3 great podcasts you can enjoy when we're not here on the radio.
Say, just as long as she still listens
but
to
you
the morning
listen
show.
to the morning show.
That's right.
That's my preferred way.
All right.
Well, perfect. Well,
Thank
appreciate
you.
you calling in, Melanie. Appreciate the kind words as always, too. So.
We could get Nick Mason a podcast. Boy, would that be entertaining.
Did you try to do a podcast once? No, you actually had like a 1-hour radio show. It was like once a week, right?
Man, I've had a little bit of everything.
Yeah, even all around. I guess, hey, I'd listen to Nick Mason's podcast. How do we get that set up, Tommy? What could be the title of it?
There could be a lot of titles to that one.
One and done.
Be 1 minute long, too. More of the Morning Rush coming up next.
We think even our youngest patients deserve the very best care. The Women and Infant Center at Washington Regional includes a significantly larger Level 3A NICU, providing the highest level of care for newborns available in our area.
It's amazing. You watch the first half, and then you see the second half. You wonder sometimes, is it the same guys out there? We had 9 turnovers at halftime. I think we ended up with 14 for the game. So that means we have 5 turnovers in the second half and playing at that pace. See, that's to me is the mark of our team is we value the basketball. We want to create turnovers, but we value the basketball. So it's still a learning process, I'm sure, for him. But it was good to see him step up in big moments. But I thought tempo had a lot to do with that, Dudley. The tempo had a lot to do with that.
How big a surprise to get Tillman the foul out and Gafford not even get charged with the foul?
I thought Dan played smart. I thought he did a good job on the ball screens, getting up there and getting back, and just real active. And Dan played a lot of minutes. He was spent out there at times. So that's kudos to him. But at the same time, one of the things we talked about is putting bodies on people, and I'm sure he got a couple pushing. Then I think he got a couple of where he come up and screen. So we wanted to attack. We wanted to attack inside.
It's been over 3 weeks since you won. I mean, how good is it to win? How good is it for the kids to win? I mean,
it's good. It's good for the psyche. I think it is. I think it's good. I think our guys know they're a good basketball team. I mean, we've come up short. We hadn't put together the 40 minutes that we talked about, and but I thought we were closer tonight. But it was triggered because of our defense. I can't say it enough. I thought our defense, the push of the basketball, whether it be on makes, miss, we did those things. And even when we made mistakes, you know what? We just played through it. I thought they had fun tonight.
And Jalen, that was probably his best game maybe since A&M. No turnovers, 6 assists, 10. What'd you think of his game?
You know, about more than anything else, I thought he was in control out there. I thought he was in control, and that's what's got to take place. You got to have some head out there. You know, when it's going erratic, you got to have somebody to settle him down on offense and defense. And I thought he grew up a little bit tonight.
Yeah, Mike, what is it about Reggie playing so well coming off the bench as opposed to the couple times you've put him in the lineup? Is he just more comfortable, I guess, in that role?
I guess he's a freshman. He's figuring it out. You know, I think I'm finally figuring it out. You know, Reggie played really big. I mean, he continues to get better and better and better. The great pass to Dan, I mean, it had to be a perfect pass. And that was a big play. The high-low where I think we went up 1 or something like that there. That was a big, big play. And then he comes up, he deflects passes, and we come up with them. That's big. He can switch on the guard and guard to guard. So his impact on this team is very, very important. And we want to put him in a position where, you know, he helps us. Our bench outscored their bench 19-15. And I said again, the biggest component of this team is going to continue to be our bench, night in and night out. Somebody got to step up. Desi comes out. I thought Desi played well. He had a couple of charges, but I thought for the most part, he's learning, coming out and bringing energy. His defense. As a matter of fact, I think he once scored the second field goal of the game. That really kind of got us going. Keyshawn, he comes in, he hits a shot that gets us up in the first half. I mean, it was a banker. I don't know if he called bank, but you know what? It all counts. I'll tell you what, a bigger play in the game was
investment. Make another great decision by calling Trinity Multifamily to help you maximize your return. Trinity Multifamily, they do it all. Full-service property management, marketing, leasing, sales, all the services to make your cash flow. Take the hassles and the frustrations out of ownership. Call Trinity Multifamily, 479-452-1817, or online at trinitymultifamily.com. Trinity Multifamily, your teammate in the real estate game.
You know, I was thinking about this last night when Arkansas got the victory over Missouri. Do you think Missouri and their fans are maybe regretting the hire of Quanzo Martin? I know it's only in his second season.
No, because, he lost his best player last year and they made it to the tournament.
Yeah. But then this year, I know that they
lost their best player again.
But, I mean, I guess what I'm looking at is, like, are they hoping that he can just still recruit at the high level that he's recruiting at?
Yeah.
And then that's going to be their saving grace. Because
I mean, they're really a basketball school, basketball state, right?
I would more so than football for sure.
I mean, basketball's a big deal in the state of Missouri.
Yeah, because they still want to play Kansas every year. You know, they feel like that's going to be the rivalry, even though it's not going to happen as long as Bill Self's the coach at Kansas. But I guess it's just because of what Missouri went through and how bad. Like, people don't realize how bad they are. Like Alex Schiffer, when he came on the show yesterday, that says that Quanzo Martin has already won more games in his tenure in Missouri than Kim Anderson won total in his final 3 seasons.
And that was a joke anyway from the jump hiring Kim Anderson. I mean, that was never going to work out.
Guy that had won a lot at the Division II level.
And
won a national title at the Division II level.
And a lot of that had to do, of course, he got players, but everybody thought that he was going to be able to come up here to this level and X and O people to death. And I'm telling you, it does not matter how good of a coach you are. You need players. That is the most important thing. Doesn't matter how bad of a coach you are. Doesn't matter how good of a coach you are. You need players. People weren't talking about all those, sets that Mike was and wasn't running whenever Barford and Macon were scoring 20 a game. You know why? Because they were scoring 20 a game. And so it didn't really matter about plays because those guys could go and get a bucket. So, yeah, that was an awful hire. That was a joke. It set them back a little bit. But no, I think if they're cool with Quanzo Martin, I think he's going to be able to keep them in the tournament probably more times than not.
Well, when we keep talking about some of the great coaches in SEC and how it's really elevated its game, I think Quanzo Martin, not saying he's a great coach, but just saying that he gets lost in the mix a little bit of guys that you don't really mention, where he was at Tennessee, made it to the Sweet 16 his final year, then went to Cal, and now he's back at Missouri. So, I mean, he's had some decent jobs. He's never really elevated that. But I'm just curious, how good can he make Missouri?
Oh, yeah,
what point can he get them to?
No, I don't think his tenure at Missouri will be any better than Mike Anderson's tenure here.
So he probably makes an NCAA tournament here and there. I know he made it last year.
Yeah,
but.
yeah. He'll make it to some NCAA tournaments. He may win a game. I don't see him going to the Sweet 16. And he's been a job hopper, and as soon as he makes it to a couple of tournaments, it's almost like he's looking for his next job so he can beat you to firing him, basically. And I mean, and he's done that because I know at Tennessee, the fans were kind of upset, and they were trying to sign like petitions and stuff to get him out. And of course, he leaves and goes to the Cal. He's there. He makes a tournament or two, and then it's just like he jumped right out of that before. So he never allows his seat to get hot before he's looking for another job.
So it may happen with him again at Missouri at some point, too.
Yeah,
so,
it could.
But, it was fascinating that, and then hearing the broadcasting team last night keep talking about Arkansas and Missouri being a rivalry game in basketball. Like, can't we just stop this, man? We got to stop this.
It was rivalry night in the SEC. So
by default.
At least they weren't. I was listening to the Tennessee Vandy broadcast, and they were talking about Andrew Benintendi played basketball at Arkansas. And Jimmy Dykes was on the broadcast. So, yeah.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
I didn't know.
Well, we can find
He played what? Basketball?
Well, they were saying he also played basketball at Arkansas along with baseball.
News to me.
Breaking news this morning.
More of the Morning Rush coming up.
And they're off at Oaklawn in Hot Springs. We're oh so ready for racing.
Oh so ready on the engine and pumped up.
Oaklawn's live season starts Friday, January 25th, and we're ready to showcase the very best in thoroughbred racing this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Past the furlong marker, oh so ready is 5 lengths in front.
Gates open at 11 a.m. every day. On Saturday the 26th, enjoy one of our legendary corned beef sandwiches for just 50 cents. And remember, we're racing all the way to May 4th. So stay until May. Oaklawn Gaming is open every day at 8 a.m. with more new games and more good times. So don't miss the nonstop excitement. We're oh so ready for another thrilling season of live thoroughbred racing beginning